Volume 4 introduced a very fascinating idea with the concept of the reincarnation / curse of Ozpin, in which after he dies, he's able to inhabit the body of a like-minded soul as their auras eventually combine into one. This on paper is a very great addition to the story, as the show has always wanted to paint Ozpin in this morally gray area. Since his introduction, he was someone that was shrouded in mystery. All we knew was that he was the headmaster of this prestigious combat school, he was a genius in his field, and him and the narrator had some type of history between each other. The show early on definitely made sure to plant these seeds of mystery of him in our head.
I've trusted him for years. We both have. I can't help but feel like he's keeping us in the dark.
Don't be ridiculous. You know very well that we are not the ones in the dark.
Why'd he let Ruby into Beacon early? Why'd Yang make a remark about him acting weird when this was presumably their first introduction to him? And why would he tell Ruby that he's made more mistakes than anyone on the planet? I know it was to make her feel better, but that's still a weird thing to say to a student. And who was Cindy referring to when she said,
"This whole time, right beneath our feet. She was right about you. Such arrogance."
These were all my thoughts before Volume 4 came out and finally shed some light on the situation. And as soon as we learned about Ozpin's curse, I was extremely happy because I saw the potential that this could have for our characters. At the time, I thought, oh man, this is so cool. Team RWBY is going to get attached to this character. Then as time goes on, they'll slowly fade into just Ozpin, thus causing more tension between the group and him. Or the new soul might die and Ozpin will get a new host. I thought it was so cool, and it is. Seeing Team RWBY bond with the character who they just know will eventually die off is such a cool concept. Thus, we have Oscar. But there's something that I wanted more of. Initially, I did want Oscar to die back in volumes 4 and 5. I wasn't really that attached to him all that much, but I wanted Team RWBY to witness the death of essentially this innocent character who got dragged into this mess all because of a power that was forced onto him. It was Oscar's choice to help fight against Salem, and while Ozpin was reading their thoughts, at the end of the day, Oscar really didn't have much say in the matter, which leads us to Oscar's eventual death. We're getting exactly what I wanted. If Oscar dies via Salem or his soul simply becomes Ozpin, this will put such a heavy strain on Team RWBY's already amazing relationship with Ozpin. I know that they all know it's gonna happen, but Ozpin's right. They're on an unavoidable path that has been set. And I'd like to clarify that we had absolutely no indication about Ozpin's curse in the beginning. We had one line about Blake's book, The Man with Two Souls, but that was the only viable hint towards Ozpin. After Ozpin's death in volume 3, I was like, ain't no way Cinder just killed him off like that. No way. And Crow said that Ozpin was missing, which, given the context now, yeah, that makes sense, and that's why it was such a big shock when he came back. We had no indication that there was someone else inside Ozpin's body at one point, because we had no reason to question it. And even though Ozma lived, there was still another soul in that body, so RIP to him. I still wanted to know more about him, but I guess not. We don't even get a name. And this was so unfortunate for the reveal later on because there was little to no foreshadowing for the payoff. But that was in the past. I'd love for us to see another reincarnation of Ozpin and just see how Team RWBY reacts on it. The man that they just got back to somewhat trusting. While it's not Ozpin's fault that Oscar will fade, I'm sure Team RWBY will still harbor some resentment to Ozpin for them losing their friend. Oscar has become one of their good friends, and for him to just die and ultimately be replaced by someone else isn't exactly a good feeling. It puts a question into the back of their minds if they should even bother befriending the new soul. Oscar said it himself.
I'm just going to be another one of his lives, aren't I?
Which is half true. Oscar has made his own impact on the world already with the help of Ozpin, but he's also just another one of Ozpin's lives. And this makes me wonder, if we somehow do get to see Oscar die before the final battle and Ozpin reincarnates, if him and the new soul meet up with Team RWBY, I question if they'll even fight alongside Ozpin. Granted, Ozpin still has his inner circle that's loyal to him, minus Crow, and obviously Ironwood. So I'm sure he'll still hold some leverage and power, as Team RWBY aren't the end-all be-all when it comes to Huntsman teams. teams. It's a tough position to be in, but if Ozpin has a plan, Team RWBY's just gonna have to suck it up. This does add another character to our roster, but I like a scenario where during the final battle, Ozpin reincarnates, gives a nice little summary of the situation to the new soul. The new soul gives a completely reasonable response and just doesn't want to fight. And Ozpin just says, that sucks, and takes over anyways. Man's gotta do what he's gotta do, especially if this is his last chance at stopping Salem before she ends the world. And if anyone asks where the other soul is, well, we kind of have more important things to worry about right now. But there's also just one little teeny tiny problem with this idea. I like this man Oscar a bit too much now. This man is straight goated after the Atlas arc, I can't even lie. This single farm boy tried to at least reason with Ironwood, converted Hazel, blew up the whale, stopping Salem for some time, and gave Emerald a second chance, thus giving us a powerful ally. And half of that was after getting tortured for hours. Man deserves a Medal of Honor after this. I didn't care much about him in Volume 4, and it was fun watching him get bodied in Volume 5. But Volume 6, that man left to go grab his drip. And then Volume 7 and 8 happened, and it was 9 day. He saw Ozpin's backstory and had his own realization about the matter. And it probably did some good that Ozpin left for some time, just so that Oscar could collect his own thoughts. It's so unfortunate that we never got to see Oscar battling with himself in Volume 4, and especially Volume 6. That's where he had to find his reasoning to keep going. It was a pivotal character moment and we missed it. And thankfully it wasn't all resolved in Volume 6 as we continue to see Oscar struggle with his identity in the Atlas arc. It was great and I look forward to his leadership in Vacuole. But of course, the more time goes on, the more Ozpin starts to take over. And if we do see Oscar living to the end, then I can't but help see him as only Ozpin by that point. Unless in the finale, Ozpin's soul is finally destroyed or he goes back to the afterlife. Honestly, that's probably what's going to happen to Oscar so that he can live on. This curse would hold a lot more weight to it, but this series is unfortunately wrapping up, and I doubt that we'll have enough time to see a full reincarnation cycle again. But in the event that something does happen to Oscar, it would be bittersweet. I love that man, but I also love the concept of what this curse can bring to the table. But let me know what you all think. Will Oscar survive until the end of the series? Will Ozpin take over? Or will he die and simply become another one of Ozpin's lives?